أنت العليم الحكيم أما بعد. Any questions about purification, ablution, before we continue to the next chapter? No? Alright. Chapter of ghusl. Ghusl meaning a greater ablution. And there are certain scenarios, certain situations in which a person needs to perform a greater ablution to be able to pray and perform various acts of worship. And we'll get to that inshallah. So when is it obligatory to perform when is it obligatory to perform major ablution? Number one, I'm trying to phrase this in the most proper way. When there is ejaculation, sperm exits the body of the male. Okay? Regardless of how. So if it's a what they call a wet dream, and again, excuse the topic, but it is part of our life, and it's something that we need to learn. And the scholars say those who are shy in learning, they'll never learn. So these topics, although there is a little bit of embarrassment in it, it's necessary to know because it's a part of our lives. So for the male, the ejaculation of sperm, whether it be through a sexual encounter with a spouse, or a wet dream as it's called, this makes it obligatory to perform the greater ablution. Now there are certain issues which branch off this. For example, what if one is ill and it comes out, sperm comes out without really their will? Again, this goes back to what we said before, that the Sharia overlooks illnesses. It makes it easier on the person who's ill. So the scholar said the ejaculation which makes greater ablution obligatory is that which exited with desire. Okay? So if it comes out without any sort of willpower because of an illness, then this is overlooked. You don't need to perform major ablution. Now someone might wake up, a man might wake up and find that there is some sort of fluid in that region by his private part. He doesn't know whether or not it's sperm or what's called medi. It's that very thick fluid that comes out when someone is sexually aroused. In this case, one has the choice. If he wants to perform greater ablution, that's fine, go for it. If he wants to perform regular ablution, then that's fine too, so long as you don't know. If you do know, you're 100% sure it is sperm, then you must perform greater ablution. What if someone had a sexually arousing dream, but he wakes up and does not find any sort of fluid? Then he just performs regular ablution. The second situation which obligates performing greater ablution is having a sexual encounter with one's spouse. Having a sexual encounter with one's spouse, which is called, this is harder than I thought. Alright, having sex, alright, not any sexual encounter, actual sex. This obligates greater ablution, regardless of whether the male ejaculated or not. That's number 2. Number 3, after the woman's period. Right? The woman goes through a monthly period. After that period, once the menstruation blood is cut off, it stops, then it's obligatory on her to perform greater ablution. And likewise, after postnatal bleeding, once it's cut, once it's done, she performs greater ablution. Now, sometimes, I'm assuming it's very rare, but after a woman gives birth, in some scenarios, there is no blood after that. If there is no blood, then she doesn't need to perform the greater ablution. She just performs regular ablution. Those are, and number 4 is when a non-Muslim becomes a Muslim. Someone accepts Islam, someone embraces Islam, then it's upon them to perform ablution, or greater ablution. Those are the 4 situations when it is obligatory to perform greater ablution. There are some preferred scenarios of performing greater ablution. For example, before Jummah prayer. In the time between Fajr and Jummah prayer, it is sunnah. There is reward in performing greater ablution. And we'll get to exactly how one performs greater ablution momentarily. So, the day of Jummah, before Jummah prayer, it is a sunnah. It is recommended to do that. There is reward in it. Before Eid prayer, either one, the Eid of Ramadan or the Eid of Hajj, it is a sunnah. There is reward in performing greater ablution prior to the prayer. After cleaning a deceased, right, it is preferred as a sunnah. There is reward in performing ghusl or greater ablution. And after, if one, may Allah protect us all, faints or goes into a coma, it is recommended, it is a sunnah to perform greater ablution once they wake up. So those are 4 scenarios in which it is a sunnah, not obligatory. It is preferred, recommended in performing it, but it's not obligatory. Now what exactly is ghusl? Very simple. There are 2 obligatory acts of ghusl, just 2. Number 1, intention. You intend to perform ghusl, right? Number 2, encompassing your body entirely with water. So every part of your body, water runs on it. Okay? And it reaches also the skin of your head, meaning you have to put a little bit of effort of getting that water under your hair for it to reach the skin of the head. That is the 2 obligatory acts of ghusl. So if someone needs to perform ghusl and they want to just throw themselves in a pool, all right, all they need to do is make intention, dive, and you're ready. Very simple. Take a shower. Alhamdulillah, that's very easy today. Put yourself under the water for a few seconds. Let that water run on your entire body. You know, do your head a little bit, and then you're ready. You're set. Now the preferred acts, the sunnah acts of ghusl, is a little bit more. So you start off by cleaning the region in which sexual contact occurred. You clean that region. Number 2, you perform wudu entirely, as we went over. Wash your hands, your face, your mouth and nose, your face, etc. And then you wash the right side of your body, the left side of your body, and then you take water and just pretty much dump it on you. But today we have showers, so just stand under the shower, let the water kind of run down on you. And that is the perfection of performing greater ablution. Do we have any questions before we continue?
How about the feet? You need to wash the feet every day.
Right, the feet, every inch of your body, water needs to run. Okay.
With your hands.
Not necessarily with your hands, just water. If you're under the shower, just let it run on you, that's fine. Any other question?
After the great evolution, if you will give it for the trade, they will admit as a small English or no?
After? Is it obligatory? No. So the uncle asked, do you have to perform wudu after performing ghusl? The answer is no. If you do ghusl, that's fine. You're set to pray and do whatever you need to do in terms of acts of worship. Other questions?
Even though if you did just obligatory wash the whole body and just the ghusl, you don't have to do wudu during the ghusl?
No. So you don't have to perform wudu in order to complete greater ghusl. If you perform ghusl, you make the intention, you run water on your entire body, you can pray after that, you can read the Quran, and so on and so forth. Questions?
Just want to clarify. So if you completely shower, there's no need to perform it. You have the intent, you don't have to perform wudu again?
No, you don't have to perform wudu. Okay, so you don't have to do this and do that. You don't even touch your body. Water runs down on your body. You throw it. You put yourself in a pool, in a pond, in a lake, in the ocean, and you have the intention of performing ghusl. You're set. Just make sure the water kind of gets under the hair. Any other questions? For women who put their hair in locks or a ponytail, if you don't have to unlock or undo your hair unless it's after a period, a menstruation cycle. Then you have to unlock it and wash all your hair. Other than that, you can just leave it locked and just run the water through your hair, and that's enough. You don't need to unlock it, so that's a little bit easier for you guys. What else? Any other questions? Go ahead.
We should emphasize to brothers here and everywhere, use minimum water when you're doing wudu.
Right. So
water is a finite source. And we waste so much water doing wudu. It's amazing.
right. So the sunnah, the brother asked, or he kind of is giving us a word of advice, a pointer, that a lot of people overdo it in using water. They waste a lot of water while making wudu or ghusl or while performing ghusl. Then we should use less. And that's part of the sunnah. The Prophet used to, for wudu, he used to make wudu with a handful of water. Look, if you can see this, like this. That's all he needed. And for ghusl, it was a saw. A saw is 2 kilograms, which is about 4.5 pounds. So about 4.5 pounds of water. So you could say a small bucket of water. He used to use that, and that's enough for him. Okay, so don't overdo it when you're making wudu. If you want to just clean yourself or whatnot, that you're fine. But in terms of acts of worship, try and conserve in the amount of water you use. And you could try it yourself. Take a bottled water, and use it to perform wudu. You find that you don't even need half of it. You don't even need half of it. So conserve when you're performing these acts, the acts of wudu and ghusl. And in conserving water is ajr, inshallah, and there's reward in it. Any other questions? There are certain acts which are not allowed when someone's in a state of, say, major impurity, spiritual impurity. I don't like using the word impurity. I'm trying to find another word, because it's not really, doesn't make sense here. But we'll just use that for now. So after one has sexual relations with their spouse, had a wet dream, after a woman's menstruation, during this period, or during the woman's menstruation cycle, or postnatal bleeding, one is not allowed to read verbally the Quran. Now the word qira in the Arabic language is referring to the moving of the lips. Okay? When someone moves their lips, now they are performing qira'ah. Whereas if someone were to not move their lips, but read the Quran, recite the Quran in their hearts or in their minds, that's not considered qira'ah in the Arabic language. Okay? So what's forbidden, what's not allowed, is to actually move your lips in recitation of the Quran during this spiritual state. However, if someone were to read Quran in their mind without moving their lips, that's perfectly fine. Okay? Does that make sense?
What is those conditions?
cannot move the.
You cannot move the lips. Don't move the lips. So recite the Quran in your mind without moving the lips.
In the state of najasa.
In the state of junub, janaba, okay, before performing ghusl, or while a woman is in her menstruation cycle, or postnatal, what's it called? Postnatal, right? Postnatal bleeding. Right? So during that state, don't verbally read the Quran, don't move your lips in recitation, rather, just read the Quran in your mind, in your heart, and that's fine. One is not allowed to enter the masjid, except if they're kind of passing through, they need to get something done quickly. If someone needs to stay, for example, a woman would like to listen to a lecture in the masjid, but she's in her menstruation cycle, make wudu, perform wudu, and come. Come and sit, and you're fine. Likewise, the man, if, theoretically speaking, he is in a state of janaba, and he wants to come listen to a lecture, assume it's after Isha, there's no prayer, he needs to pray. He comes, he wants to sit down, he doesn't want to perform ghusl yet, make wudu, come and sit down. That's fine. So these are two situations. Someone's coming to do something quickly, passing through, they need to pick up their child, that's not a problem, come, do that. Or if you want to stay a little bit longer, listen to a lecture, then just perform wudu, come and stay. Likewise, as we explained in the previous dars, one's not allowed to physically touch the words of the Quran, nor perform tawaf, circumambulating around the Kaaba, nor obviously prayer, and that's it. Are there any questions in terms of what we have taken? Or go ahead.
Again, just clarifying, without moving your lips, you can recite Quran in your heart,
Right.
You don't have tahara.
Correct. Just brothers clarifying, if you don't have tahara, if you're in a state of janaba, you want to review the Quran, you can say it in your heart, in your mind, without physically saying it with your lips, without moving your lips. Yes, okay.
If you don't have wudu, you can enter.
Yes, you can end up without wudu. You're not in a state of janaba, but at the same time, you don't have purification. You haven't performed ablution. You can come sit in the mosque as much as you want. Listening to Quran, again, it's fine. You can listen to Quran regardless of what state you are in. Any other questions? One? Was clear? Good. So inshallah, starting next week, I'm gonna skip over to the chapter or the unit of Ramadan, of fasting, because fasting is coming up. So inshallah, that's why, if you are a little bit puzzled why I jumped, that's the reason why, so that we know specific rulings when it comes to Ramadan. I know we all go through certain issues. It would be nice to know exactly what to do. So inshallah, starting next week, we will enter the unit of Siyam, fasting. Is that good? Yeah. And if we finish that before the end of Ramadan, which I think we should, we'll go into zakat. Because the best time to give zakat is during Ramadan so that you get the extra reward. So I don't want to start another unit, but if no one has any questions, I think we can go over Tayammum real quickly.
The woman or the girl that goes to a university and she's taking lessons in she is she can't open it, can't read.
She can open it. Right, so a woman in the masjid, scholars differ. So some scholars said that she could read it because this is a long period, 6-7 days. It's a long period of time not to review the Quran, especially for those who have it memorized or have a good portion of it memorized. They need to constantly review it. Likewise, this is out of her hand. She has no way of removing that state. So she is excused in that sense. And this is a fatwa of many great scholars. So if she finds the necessity, as you said, she's in a classroom setting, there is a need now for her to recite it, to read it, then go for it. It'll be fine. But outside that situation, if she's on her own terms, then just read it, recite it inside the heart, in the mind, and don't physically, just to stay on the safe side. Another question? All right. So tayammum, real quickly, is the replacement of ablution in the situation in which water is not available. Okay? One reason or another, water is not available to perform ablution. What do you do now? You perform tayammum. Now there are scenarios in which one is allowed to perform tayammum. Number one, there is no water, or water is far away. You're talking about kilometers or miles away. By the time you even reach it, prayer will be done, or it's just way too far. The Sharia makes it easy for you. It says just perform tayammum. So number one, distance, or the lack of availability of water. Number two, there's water available, but you're traveling, for example. If you use it, you won't have water for yourself, or for, back in the day, your animals. Or if you were to buy water, you won't have money to buy gas, or to buy food. Right? So now, again, this is a lack of availability. Likewise, if you could buy water, but the guy is taking advantage of you. The vendor is taking advantage of you. You want to buy water, $5, right? $10. This scenario, the Sharia doesn't force you to do that because now you're being taken advantage of. Again, distance between you and water, and a large distance between you and water, you cannot reach it. Number two, there is no water, lack of availability. Number three, there is water available, but limited, and you need it for yourself. There is a dire need for your own survival. You're traveling, right? You're on a road trip. You're cut off. Sometimes you go many miles without finding water. The time for Salah is closing. There's not much time left. You can't find a gas station. You can't find a place, a rest stop, right? You perform tayammum. How do you perform tayammum? Very simple. Look at me. Hit the floor once, like this. That's it. Hit the floor once, like this. Face, hand, hand. That's it. Now, I'm sure you've heard sometimes do it twice, right? And then this and that, or do it once for the head and once for the... All opinions, all good opinions. The one I see is most authentic. Once, hit the floor once, put it on your head, on your face rather, in your two arms, and that's it. That's it. Now the question, go ahead.
If you fly over, for example, in an airplane, that time you have to make a time with you, or you have to...
No, you have the bathrooms in the airplanes.
And the bathroom is small.
You can do it. I've done it before. Yes, it's small. Just hope there's no turbulence. That's hard. Go ahead.
Does it have to be floor or if you sit in the car?
Anything with dust on it.
It has to have dust.
Yeah, anything with dust on it.
The wall can be there.
A wall would. But it's most preferred that it's dirt.
Because sometimes I'm in the car, I just
Right.
on my legs.
Right. That's an opinion. Another opinion, it has to be dirt. But inshallah, anything that has like dust on it. It's fine.
How to do wudu with snow?
Snow? Yeah, wudu with snow is fine because snow is a form of water. But I don't know if you want to do that.
No, I mean how to do it. It's complete wudu.
The same thing, you just take snow and just start rubbing it on your hand. I'm from Chicago, trust me, you don't want to do it.
So if there's snow, so we can do.
You didn't get snow here.
No, we are traveling.
You travel, okay.
And
Yes, you can perform wudu with snow. It's fine.
so if there's snow, we do wudu or we do tayammum.
Wudu. If there's snow, you perform wudu. The snow is a form of water. Likewise, ice. Good luck with that. Start rubbing it on your... Any other questions before we conclude? No?
For the conditions of tayammum, there is one more, I think, if you are sick and
Right, thank you. So if one is sick, putting water on their body will actually harm them, physically harm them. Again, now you make tayammum. But this has to be something that's very, it's all over your body, not just one part. just one part. You do regular wudu, that part which you can't put water on, you just overlook it. You don't put water on it, you do the rest. So if you were to assume that there is some sort of skin disease on the upper part of the forearm, okay, the lower part is fine. Now if you put water on the upper part, it's going to physically harm you. It's going to damage your skin, it's going to damage your body, it hurts very much. What do? Perform regular ablution, wash the part that's fine, and just leave the part that's not fine alone.
Same thing for the IV. If somebody has IV,
The IV, but does it?
yeah.
I understand that, but I mean, putting water over an IV, I don't think there's anything harmful in that. Contaminate it? Fine, wash around it. If it's contaminated, so the other asked about IV. You have an IV, right? You don't want to contaminate that region. Leave it, Sam, leave it. Leave it. You don't want to contaminate that region. Overlook it. Just wash around it. Okay. Likewise, a cast. If you have a cast, you cannot get water in there, but you can't take it off, right? Overlook it. So if you assume there's a cast and you tie your right arm, now you don't want water to enter because it's going to cause pus or cause some sort of contamination. You cannot take it off. Just skip it. You don't need to wipe it. Just overlook it. Now there's a medical excuse for you. The Sharia overlooks those who are ill. And we'll stop there for Adhan. Sallallahu alaihi Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in.
Yeah, I just want to put a shirt here.
I think it's catching. Thank you, Ustaz.